There are people who think wisdom is just for old folks or philosophers. Others think Proverbs is just a pretty little book in the Bible, full of catchy phrases and stuff to hang on your wall. But what if I told you that hidden inside those pages are powerful, down-to-earth principles that could totally change how you live, from how you deal with people to how you handle money, time, faith, and even pain? Truth is, most people are just putting out fires, always playing catch-up, trying to fix stuff that could have been avoided, if only they had wisdom. And I'm not talking about academic smarts or fancy theories. I'm talking about real, spiritual wisdom that comes from God and actually works in real life. In this video, you'll discover 30 powerful truths hidden in Proverbs that most people completely overlook. These lessons will challenge your mindset, shake your habits, and break you free from patterns that might have been holding you back for years. And if you apply even half of what you're about to hear, you'll see real change. The best part? You won't need some magic formula, just a willingness to line your life up with divine wisdom. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of wisdom. Some people think fear means being scared, but the fear of the Lord isn't about being afraid of punishment. It's about deep respect, like the kind you have for someone you love and admire with your whole heart. Once that awareness hits your soul, everything changes. From the way you talk to people to the secret choices you make when no one's watching. The fear of God doesn't push you away. It draws you closer with reverence. Someone who walks in that kind of spiritual awareness pauses before making a move. Before saying yes to a sketchy deal, they stop and think, wait, would God be cool with this? That kind of wisdom becomes your compass in the middle of chaos. Even when life gets crazy, you still know which way is up. And check this out. People who fear God don't go around pointing fingers. Actually, they tend to be more patient, more kind, more fair. Why? Because they know God sees everything, even what's hidden in the heart. And that gives you a lighter spirit even when the world feels heavy. And when your soul's light, you make space for something most folks forgot about. Listen before you speak. Wise folks know silence can speak louder than 1,000 opinions. While everyone else is dying to be heard, the truly wise stand out by simply knowing how to listen. And I'm not just talking about with your ears. I mean listening with your soul, with full attention, fully aware of what's really going on in the conversation. Listening like that is actually a spiritual practice. No interrupting, no jumping to conclusions, no prepping your response while the other person's still talking. That takes real maturity. How many relationships could have been saved if someone had just listened instead of reacting? When you listen before speaking, you dodge a lot of unnecessary drama. You pick up on what's not being said, and here's the best part. People start trusting you. They feel seen, heard, safe. And that's when wisdom starts bearing fruit, the kind that brings peace. Wisdom brings peace and long life. Wise people aren't at war with themselves. They pick their battles wisely and let go of stuff that only drains their energy. That doesn't mean they run away from problems. It just means they know which ones are actually worth fighting. People like that usually live longer and better. Not because of some miracle, but because they avoid unnecessary stress, stay out of pointless drama, and take care of their mind and spirit. Ever met someone who looks like they've got decades of wisdom in their eyes, but they're not even 40 yet? That kind of peace is priceless. Sleeping with a clear conscience, living without hiding anything, building honest relationships. That's what wisdom looks like in real life. But to get there, there's one invisible enemy you've got to take down first. Pride leads to downfall. Pride is a good-looking disguise for insecurity. It seems like strength, but it's really weakness. Pretending to be self-sufficient. People who walk around with their nose in the air don't see the cracks in the road. And when they fall hard. Humility, on the other hand, is pure spiritual strength. It lets you learn from others, ask for help when you need it, and admit that you're still a work in progress. A teachable heart attracts favor, wisdom, and open doors. The problem is, pride makes people blind. It convinces them they don't need to change, that they're always right. And just like that, they get stuck. While wisdom's knocking, they're too busy admiring themselves in the mirror. Kindness prevents conflict. Some folks think being kind is being weak, but actually, it takes serious inner strength to respond gently when everything around you is screaming for a fight. A soft answer is like a bucket of water on a wildfire. Ever tried keeping your cool when someone's coming at you hot? It's not easy, but it changes the whole vibe. They lose their edge, the tension drops. Kindness is practical wisdom, and it's also how you build bridges. Being kind doesn't mean being a pushover. It means being aware of the power of your words. A gentle reply can shut down an entire argument. And once you realize that, even tough conversations get easier. Walk with the wise, and you'll grow wiser. You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. That's not just a quote. It's real life. Your habits, your thinking, your decisions, all of that is influenced by who you're around. Hanging with wise folks pulls you up. You get solid advice, deep insights, and even those much-needed reality checks. But the opposite, that's a fast track to disaster. Before you know it, you're copying patterns you never wanted in your life. Want to grow spiritually? Get around people who bear spiritual fruit. Want to be more honest, stronger, more self-aware? Walk with people who live that out. And little by little, something amazing starts happening. Honesty pleases God. Truth can be uncomfortable, but it always sets you free. Living with integrity is a bold move these days. It means doing what's right even when nobody's watching, or when everyone else is doing what's wrong. God honors those who walk in truth. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. The one who's faithful with little, who doesn't fake who they are, who owns up to mistakes and grows from them. That person receives grace and favor. Honesty brings inner peace. You sleep better, live lighter, and earn people's trust. But the way you use your words also plays a huge part in that. Words have the power of life and death. A careless word can break a heart. A sincere compliment, though, can save someone's day. Your words are like weapons, and like any weapon, they need to be used wisely. Those who understand the power of speech are careful with what they say. They steer clear of gossip, mindless complaining, and learn to speak life, healing, uplifting, encouraging words. Wisdom shows up in a controlled tongue. Want to try something simple? Go a whole day without complaining. Just that. You'll be surprised how trained your mouth is for negativity. And once you catch it, real change starts. And with that change comes something else. Hard work pays off. There are no shortcuts to a meaningful life. Real spirituality shows up in daily responsibility. When you plant with effort, you harvest with joy. It might not come when you expect it, but it always comes at the right time. God honors faithful effort. The one who works with excellence, who gives their best even when no one's watching, is building something solid. The payoff might not be likes or applause, but it'll come as peace, provision, and reward. Laziness promises rest, but delivers frustration. Hard work, on the other hand, brings visible results, both financially and spiritually. And when things get tough, that's when another piece kicks in. Trusting God brings true security. There are moments when nothing makes sense. Logic fails, plans fall apart, strength fades. But when you trust God, you stay standing, even when everything's shaking. Trust isn't about understanding, it's about resting. It's knowing that even if you can't see the full path, God is guiding every step. And that kind of faith brings a peace the world just can't explain. When you trust, you don't panic. You might cry, but you don't give up. You might stumble, but you know there's a hand ready to lift you up. And that kind of trust even benefits your physical health. Joy promotes health. Ever notice how joyful people seem younger? That's because real joy is like natural medicine. I'm not talking about fake smiles. I mean carrying a genuine sense of positivity in your heart. Spirituality also shows up in lightness, in laughing at little things, finding beauty where others see only mess. A good laugh can heal stuff no medicine can touch. Want to live longer and better? Make joy a habit. Watch uplifting content, listen to music that lifts your spirit. Say, thank you more. Gratitude opens the door for joy, and that joy starts to change what you attract and what you reap. Your harvest depends on your planting. You reap what you sow. Maybe not right away, maybe not the way you expected, but it always comes back. Plant kindness, and you'll harvest blessing. Plant drama, and you'll end up lonely. The problem? A lot of folks want to harvest what they never planted. They want peace but won't forgive. They want prosperity but won't work. They want wisdom but won't seek it. But that's not how the spiritual life works. Want to start a good harvest? Plant today, say sorry, help someone without expecting anything back, pray for someone quietly. And as you plant, never forget, God directs our steps. Planning is great, studying is essential, but at the end of the day, it's God who connects the dots. We only see what's right in front of us. He sees the big picture, and trusting that changes everything. Some things didn't work out because God was protecting you. Some doors stayed shut because He saw what you couldn't. When you get that, anxiety starts losing its grip. Make your plans, you should, but submit them to God. Ask, Lord, is this what you want for me? When that awareness kicks in, even setbacks turn into growth, and that leads to something you can't buy. Wisdom is better than gold buys stuff. Wisdom builds a life. Some people have all the money but no peace. Others, with way less, live with clarity, confidence, and calm. Wisdom saves you from messes, helps you see the big picture, and keeps you from falling for traps that look like opportunities. It's like a map that shows you shortcuts invisible to the average eye. When you chase wisdom, you're chasing what God values most. Want to get truly rich? Read Proverbs. Take in wise advice, learn from your mistakes, and from others too. That kind of wealth, no one can take it away. And it's your shield against what's coming. Evil brings heartache, bad choices bring consequences. Maybe, not instantly, but they always show up. Evil promises pleasure, but delivers chains. It tempts you with ease, then charges you your freedom. Living by spiritual principles saves you from a lot of pain. Not because you're better, but because you're walking a path that protects. God's not about rules for rules' sake, and He's about care and covering. Righteousness acts like a shield, keeping you safe from heartaches that don't need to happen. And when you walk that path with patience, the results speak for themselves. Patience brings good fruit in this fast-paced world. Waiting feels like a crime. But in real spirituality, patience is strength. Waiting in faith isn't the same as waiting blindly. It's trusting that God's working behind the scenes. Mature fruit takes time. A strong marriage, a solid career, a deep faith. None of that grows overnight. People who try to rush the process usually end up with half-baked results. Patience isn't laziness, it's active trust. Keep doing what's right, even if you don't see results yet. The harvest will come, but be careful with what holds it back. Laziness blocks success. Laziness is sneaky. It pretends to be well-deserved rest, but it's actually stealing your future. While the hard-working are out there planting, the lazy are binge-watching the same series. Again, God blesses effort, not sitting around. That goes for your spiritual life too. If you don't pray, you won't hear. If you don't seek, you won't find. Want to grow? Get up, move, do something. Start small, wake up earlier, schedule time to study, pray, and take action. Success begins in the invisible world of discipline, and it needs protection, especially from the people around you. Avoid bad company. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if you're surrounded by toxic people, you're gonna get stuck. Bad company doesn't just pull you off track, it shapes who you become. Sometimes the real problem isn't you, it's who's walking beside you. If you want to become more spiritual, stronger, more grounded, you've got to distance yourself from people who drain you and drag you down. It's not arrogance, it's wisdom. When you love yourself, you protect yourself. And as you let go of what weakens you, you start living with more faith and purpose. Faith requires real action. Believing is good. But believing and doing nothing, that's like planting a seed and never watering it. Real faith moves. It acts even when it doesn't feel like it. It builds even when results are nowhere in sight. Want to show your faith? Forgive someone who hurt you. Give, even when it's tight. Keep trusting God even when you're walking through the valley. These actions speak louder than 1,000 words. God responds to practical faith. Spirituality shows up in your daily choices, especially in how you treat others. Compassion is a sign of justice. If you love, you care. If you're spiritually awake, you give a damn. It's not enough to pray for someone. When you can help, help. The righteous move toward other people's pain. Simple acts go a long way. Really listening, dropping off a food basket, visiting someone who's sick. It blesses the person receiving it, and it strengthens the one giving. Compassion is a reflection of God's heart. And when you live like that, you naturally start developing another trait of true wisdom. The wise are cautious. Caution is wisdom's radar. It sees danger coming before it explodes. That gut feeling of, maybe I shouldn't go. That's often God waving a red flag your eyes haven't picked up yet. Wise folks don't take unnecessary risks. They don't walk into drama, don't flirt with sin like it's harmless. They protect themselves, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Living with caution means living with purpose. And if you want to stay on course, you'll need friends who tell you the hard truth, not just clap for everything you do. Real friends correct you. Real friend won't just nod and smile. They'll call you out when you need it. And they won't do it to shame you, but to save you. Loving correction is one of the deepest forms of care. It might sting in the moment, but it heals later. One honest word can save you from a massive mistake. Those so-called friends who only hype you up, sometimes they're just cheering. While you walk off a cliff, value the ones who challenge you with respect. They're instruments God uses to shape your character. And while we're on the subject of words, think twice before making promises. It's easy to say, I promise. Keeping that promise, that's where it gets real. Every promise you make carries spiritual weight. When you say you'll do something, heaven takes note. Wisdom says, measure your words. Before you say, I'll help or count on me, ask yourself, can I really follow through? God values faithfulness, even in the little things. Empty promises break trust, but gentle honesty, that builds something powerful. Gentleness persuades more than force. You don't need to yell to be heard. You need heart. A strong message can be delivered softly and still land with impact. Truth hits harder when it's wrapped in kindness. Patience is a strategic virtue. You might be totally right, but if you don't say it well, no one will listen. A well-timed kind word that can crack the hardest mindset. Want real influence? Be solid in your convictions and soft in your delivery. That's the core of someone who's serious about growing in wisdom. Craving knowledge leads to real growth. Going after wisdom is a daily thing. Read, study, listen, observe. It feeds your soul. People who crave knowledge expand their perspective and get better at navigating life. It's not about being the smartest. It's about staying in motion. Read a proverb a day, listen to a solid podcast, study something useful. Finances, relationships, faith, it all adds up. The problem? Too many folks have a million excuses for why they don't grow. Speaking of excuses, excuses are the lazy person's shield. I'll start tomorrow. I don't have time. That's not my thing. These are laziness in disguise. They sound logical, but really they're self-made roadblocks. People who make excuses rarely move forward. They always have a reason to stay stuck, but those who take responsibility, even scared, go way farther, want to break out of that rut. Trade excuses for decisions. A small step beats the paralysis of fear, and that also helps with a silent enemy. Envy eats you from the inside. Envy is drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. It kills your peace, clouds your vision, and blinds you to what you already have. Constant comparison only brings frustration, but contentment, that's pure emotional and even physical health. Gratitude is freedom. Start being grateful. Write down 3 things you're thankful for every day. Bit by bit, envy loses its grip. And the lies that tried to cover everything up, they unravel. Lies are a trap. Lies seem like quick fixes, but they're a maze. One leads to another, and soon you don't even know what the truth is anymore. Living a lie is basically living on the run. Truth might cost something, but it brings peace. And when you choose transparency, God moves on your behalf. Integrity attracts divine favor. Want to rebuild trust? Start with the truth, even if it stings, because truth opens the door to something bigger. Justice brings blessings. God loves justice, not self-righteousness, but the kind of justice that does the right thing even when no one's watching. The just live by principles, and that produces good fruit. Justice in what you say, what you do, how you run your business, how you treat people. Being just makes you trustworthy, and that attracts open doors, healthy connections, and God's protection. And to keep living that way, you'll need this last piece. Patience with others is wisdom. Not everyone's going to act the way you want, and that's okay. Being patient with others is spiritual maturity. It means recognizing everyone's on their own journey. Instead of criticizing, pray. Instead of judging, try to understand. The grace you extend always circles back to you. And those who live like that, they walk lighter, closer to Jesus every single day. And that lightness, it starts transforming your everyday life, one choice at a time.